Star citizenships for more than half the price? Is that even legal? We take a critical and detailed look at the gray market, deal with the most important terms, legal aspects and what possibilities there are. And of course, we answer some of the most important questions. What is the gray market? Where does it come from? Who are the players and what does it mean for you? Because since our last video on this topic a few years ago, a lot has changed, but one after the other. First, we take a look at the pledge store, the only way to buy Star Citizen items. And here we also answer the question, do we buy items or do we only acquire license rights? And already here there are different buying prices for different tax options. And of course, the CCU game also plays a very important role in the gray market. The only way to buy digital spaceships, equipment, the game access or more for Star Citizen is the CIG Pledge Store. And to the question of whether we acquire a license right for access to game and individual ships or make a digital purchase, we come to the area of legal questions. Basically, the Pledge Store is the only way to buy items, digital ships or other packages. And of course, this also applies to every gray market trader, marketplaces or otherwise. In the Pledge Store, there are already noticeable price differences that become significant factors in the gray market later on. Because not everywhere are the taxes that we have to pay for purchases the same. Because especially for more expensive ships like an A2 Hercules, we pay $750 in the American version, or for German ships with 90% tax already $892. So, especially for larger ships and fleets, a considerable additional cost. But it is of course not enough here to simply move your IP address to a corresponding area in order to be able to buy cheaply, because CIG also checks the account address here to prevent abuse as much as possible. For professional traders, however, it is all the more important to buy without tax additional costs. But first, let's take a look at the CCU game. So, on the way we, without help and also without a third party, save a ship of 50% and more quite legally for ourselves. Because with the purchase of different warbond upgrades, so reduced upgrades, you can save a certain amount per upgrade. And if you bundle multiple upgrades together, you can save a significant amount of money when upgrading from a starter ship to your desired ship. Since this can be quite complex, we've provided a detailed guide on the Pledge Store, upgrade chains and more, and we've also utilized the CCU game, an app that can assist you in this process. And this tool we also use here. And so we come for our test carrack instead of $600 to the standard price quite legally at the purchase price of $295. Of course, in addition to our taxes, depending on which country we are in. And for this we use the ship upgrade tool on the website by Robert Space Industries. Here, various warbond offers will be available for various sales and events, so upgrades to ships with a reduced price offer. And you don't have to own any of these ships. You can simply select all upgrades, whether you own the ship or not. And then only the time factor comes into play. The more sales we wait for throughout the year, especially during the big sales in May and November, the more upgrades we can accumulate and use for chaining. And if you do this over several years, you get upgrade chains from savings to 70 to 75%. And here comes the gray market into play. Cloud Imperium Games keeps all legal aspects open, although this is a completely separate topic. And here I can recommend the video by AstroSam, which has dealt in detail with the business conditions and more. We summarized the topic for the gray market and the Pledge Store in this video, where the question of whether we buy a digital good or a certain license for the use of a digital good rather plays a subordinate role for potential buyers. In any case, illegal activities are relevant. Here we find already the first hint at the limit of a maximum giftable item, which is worth $1,000. Here it is clearly about money laundering regulations. The gift system for items and chips is not intended to enable trade with third parties, but it does not exclude this either. So this is also not forbidden or subordinated. Buyers need to know that if there's an issue, CIG won't take responsibility for it. It's up to them to deal with it. Because as soon as illegal activities or the like come to abuse in the field of the gift system, CIG has the opportunity to assign the items to the right accounts, delete or completely remove them. So there is no claim. Finally, you cannot complain to the CIG support that an item has disappeared from your hangar, your account is locked, or you have been cheated. Okay, but why is the trade with virtual goods, so the grey market, not fundamentally subordinated? Of course, financial gain is the main motivation here. This is because every grey market trader still has to make purchases through Cloud Imperium games and here the Pledge Store. Because there is no other source. And of course, this causes a very high turnover. And there are of course many offering platforms for such items like eBay and so on, as well as a complete Reddit platform, which was one of the first grey markets and now offers a considerable offer with 33,000 members. But the risk here is very high. But there are safer specialized shops like the Impound that offers these items professionally on their website. Or of course Star Hangar, which is a specialized marketplace and one of the oldest marketplaces in the verse. Here the unique aspect is that Star Hangars work like PayPal and provides support in case of any issues and has a registered company and a contact partner. And this is the biggest difference to other platforms like eBay or the Reddit, which are mostly anonymous. Because here you have to trust the corresponding trader, provider or eBay seller. And of course not all of them are black sheeps. For instance, there's still a Reddit seller we spoke to a few years back who's still in business with high ratings. But of course, the risk of buying via a grey marketplace, like Reddit or eBay, is quite high. Because if a seller is still shady after all these years, there's a chance that the items you bought could be taken away from your account and it'd be tough to get your money back. And of course, every purchase outside your own account is not exactly affordable for your concierge level. If you want to achieve a higher concierge level, you'll have to purchase items through your own account regardless. Here, purchased items do not count in the grey market. But why was there been a grey market for several years? And what are the advantages? Basically, you can buy all items or upgrades in the grey market. Even if you're missing an upgrade or a ship is out of stock, you can typically find all these items you need on the grey market. And also some rare items. Furthermore, experienced grey market sellers can offer ships at significantly lower prices compared to the Pledge Store, due to their ability to accumulate substantial price deductions. So we can buy a Carrack, which normally costs $600, for almost half the price with lifetime insurance from the grey market, around $400 from the Impound or even $365 from Star Hangar in some cases. And of course, we could generate a better price ourselves if we wait about 1 to 2 years and take all the corresponding sales. It is up to us whether we want to use the grey market or not. But since there are still some questions open here, we have conducted extensive interviews. And here we were able to ask the most important and sometimes unpleasant questions and got answers. At Star Hangar, Mark took up new time for a few years after our interview. The Impound refuses to appear on camera, but provided written answers to all our questions, which we will present as part 2. Use the timestamps in the video to jump to the right spot.
Then welcome, Mark, and thank you for taking the time today for an interview on the grey market in Star Citizen. We have known each other for a few years. We had an interview on the same topic a few years ago, and a lot has changed since then. So thank you for taking the time. Thank you for the invitation. I think it's almost 5 years ago. A lot has happened in that time. 5 years, Mark, incredible. But nice to be back here. Star Hangar is one of the largest marketplaces for Star Citizen items. And of course, there are always questions about the grey market. Can I buy something there without risk? Is there a big risk? Are scammers out there? I always try to differentiate it a bit, depending on whether you have a good buddy who sells you something. Then the risk is lower than if you buy something on eBay or somewhere on Reddit. What about you? What experiences do you have with the grey market? Because you are one of the largest marketplaces. Have you had any problems there over the years? Has that changed? I would even say we are the largest marketplace. That's because we were there at the beginning via Reddit. For us, it's a bit of a grey area because we've noticed the existence of the Reddit market and these sketchy eBay markets where all sorts of things go down. Back then, people came to us because we were already a well-known and established marketplace even before Reddit, almost a decade ago. They asked if they could use us as middlemen to list their items and ensure that everything is done properly and securely. It's sent over. Because people knew us, they knew how we sell things. That was normal, legitimate. Other people took us as middlemen, and as a result, the customers also knew what they were getting. And then it all grew and expanded. We created our own website where sellers could come on board, and we became known for ensuring secure sales. That means you buy from us and we make sure that you either get it back or get your money back, or if you get the wrong item, that we replace it, etc. That's actually what set us apart in the grey market. The difference, I have of course already done some research, the big difference with you is that you are a marketplace. You are not the ones who offer things themselves, but you have different buyers who offer it to you, and you work similarly. Best explained, like PayPal. If I purchase something from somewhere, PayPal acts as an intermediary to regulate the transaction. In case of any issues, I can contact PayPal, or in this case, you, and you ensure that everything runs smoothly, correct? Right, exactly. We are something like PayPal in the middle. We have a lot of different sellers. We have sold ones. We don't sell anymore. We still have a little bit of stock, but it's just such a minimal part. We don't do that anymore. Most of it is done by our sellers, and we just make sure that everything is clean. That means our sellers receive payment only after everything has been confirmed, and with us, this happens after 48 hours. We ensure that the transaction is complete before releasing payment to the seller. When everything has gone well for the seller, and we see, okay, everyone is satisfied, then the seller gets his money, and then it can go on. We just secure everything. No change is needed. The current translation accurately reflects the English sentence and the given context. And we take care of all the things, that it's really exactly what you want, and everyone is insured. And can everyone sell from you? Or do you have to register? Or do you have to identify yourself? Or are there also black sheep that show up, sell something from you, and then are gone again? Everyone can register with us. There is a contract that you have to sign neutrally, i.e., you have to have it approved, and then you have to upload your documents and papers so that we can verify who it is, so that we can switch on the necessary authorities in case of a scam, which has already happened. That means we know who our sellers are, so that they can just take the money and run away. There are some bad apples, but we catch them quickly and ban them. You can still register again because we have your information. If you mess up again, you're out for good. Interestingly, this brings me to a very, very small thing from a sewing box. For some reason, most scammers come from France, or the IP addresses from France, which we have ever seen. And we have built in a filter so that we have a security check for IP addresses from France. And since then, the scam cases that we had to process, that we had to solve, have fallen by 90%. I don't know why that is, but it is for some reason. So that's another interesting side. What happens in such a scam case with the customer? So when a customer encounters a problem, and we identify it as a scam, unfortunately, the customer becomes a victim of the scammer's deceit. That means we had a scammer here, he was banned from us, and now he's here too. Did we report it to the authorities, or is there a disadvantage somewhere? No, definitely not. We have, you can also read that in team terms, TOS, we have the 100% self-guarantee. So we verify that up to 90 days after the sale, we 100% guarantee that we will always give you your money back if there is any problem with it. If it's not a scam, but you receive the wrong item by mistake, well, make sure to get you the correct item, upgrade you to the correct item, or refund your money. So the customer is always 100% secure. That is very important to us. And that is also established in our contract conditions, that we do this. You have a complete customer service. I have it myself. I have, of course, already bought something from you before, sometimes smaller, sometimes larger things. The customer service is actually available all year round. I had a similar experience before where the person I spoke to initially didn't speak German. They were able to connect me with someone who could speak German and help me out. How many employees did you employ there? In total, at Star Hangar, we are now 12 employees. With part-time employees as well. We've got around 5 support staff working worldwide, with a 6th person who fills in the gaps. Our team is spread out across the globe. We've got folks in the US, Germany, Europe, the Philippines, Argentina, and all over the world. So that we can cover all time zones in the world globally, and thus always be accessible. Because we don't want to force people to be online in Europe at 2 a.m. But the night time, for example, in the Philippines, is just right for covering this time zone. Or the USA for tomorrow, or in the evening as well. How do you see it legally? You are a company, I looked it up now, you are registered in the USA. So everything that runs is US law, so to speak, right? Exactly. We are a US LLC, Starring LLC, a registered company in Virginia. And we have a right to sell US regulations. And also VAT, for example. That does not apply to us as a US company. We don't have to pay that here in Europe. Okay. For most people considering a purchase, the prices are the most intriguing aspect. CIG is the sole seller, offering their products exclusively in their pledge store. And you are the only seller. But you can offer prices that are much more interesting than Star Citizen or CIG itself. How does that work? That's something quite exciting. Many people already know the CCU game. And we have sellers who are also starling us. There are a few Ukrainian sellers who live from it, for example. They live from it. Especially now, in this time. Or sellers from all over the world. Starling us are their life. They do that. And they have played this CCU game so far, and have been playing this game for so long that they have all kinds of upgrades, and these war bond upgrades that they can build such efficient chains that they can simply offer ships much cheaper. You've been at this for a while now, and have accumulated a large inventory, allowing you to offer a Corsair for 170, which is around 150 euros if my math is correct. Yes, about 160 euros. That you can simply sell a Corsair, which actually costs 250 for 170. That's the price of Star Hangar, which is currently available. But there are just so many upgrades and chains and credits that it can be so cheap. Yes, that's the most striking thing. And also that there is almost everything on upgrades. So the most striking thing is that there are almost all upgrades available, even for items that are currently not for sale or unavailable. Offers or even limited things that are actually no longer available. Of course, at accordingly high prices. However, is there anything that you don't have? Or what are your rarest articles where you say, these are the ones, this is almost no longer available? Do you have anything of it? One thing, if you've been with Star Citizen long enough, then there are things like that. By now, you must be familiar with many golden ticket items such as the Scythe, the Vandal ship, and the captured Vandal ship. These were originally priced at around $300. Very, very early. I think it was a Kickstarter pledge. They became more and more rare over time. We have a golden ticket by now, and they are now at 6,000 or 5,000, depending. Because there are simply no more. There are simply no more that are not account-bound. So a giftable Scythe, LTI, from this 10-year-old ship. We still have that. These are super rare things, this captured Wonder Fighter. We still have something like that, or 890 jumps and things like that, which are relatively difficult to get. Or certain upgrades. For example, you have a ship and then you have an upgrade that contains LTI. You can upgrade your ship to LTI, even though it originally didn't have LTI. Or things that only existed at certain events. You can find all of that with us. I noticed that too. All things that I had to research first. When did that exist? That's definitely interesting when you mention needing something unique, but you're missing an upgrade that is no longer available. Or prices have changed. That's exciting, of course. There are always discussions about Star Citizen or generally about buying a pledge. You don't buy a ship, you support the game and you get a ship for it. Is it a purchase? Do I buy a digital item or do I support a game and get something for it? Depending on the region of the world I am in, the legal situation is different. How do you deal with it? You sell worldwide. We stick to the US law. People can sell it further. People bought their article and it is their pledge and they can transfer the pledge. There is nothing wrong with pledges. It is a good like any other for us. Okay, so a digital purchase in the US. And if I buy something digitally, it is also mine. So from a legal point of view, you are on the safe side. Exactly. It's just a digital good like any other. As it was defined, it is defined. But in that sense, it is how it is. A digital good. If I want to sell something to you now, so I have verified myself with you. I have a few more things where I say, okay, I will find certain buyers. What do I have to pay for? Is it free for me as a seller or do I have to pay fees? No, there are definitely fees. We have a percentage that we calculate for every purchase. For the whole support activity on the hosting side, we take a percentage for the trailer. And of course on top, depending on the payment method, we also pay for sellers via PayPal or something like that. For other mediums or Stripe or Payoneer, depending on what you want to decide. Cryptocurrency is also possible if desired. And from these fees, we finance the operation of the market. These are 14 with us for each sale and are then automatically deducted.
Okay,
so 14. I have to expect that if I want to sell something. Then I have a big marketplace and don't have to create a name or build up a reputation. But the trust is then with you. Exactly. What else needs to be said about this 14 is that PayPal fees are still included. If you use PayPal or Stripe to buy something, keep in mind that fees will always be around 3, sometimes 3.5 for transatlantic transactions, and even 4 in particularly bad cases. Then the customer sends us the money. No changes needed. The current translation is already contextual and modern. I got it. I have my 6,000 fee. It has arrived safely. And then, of course, the fees from the shipment to us fall. That's 5 to 4. And they are still included in this 14. Then we send the money to the seller. In these 14 are also transaction fees and PayPal fees or credit card fees. Okay, so it doesn't add up. I would have to pay them anyway when I sell now. If I calculate it, it's around 78, where I might actually pay a fee. I would have to pay the rest anyway if I were to wrap it up. Exactly. The fees have to come in anyway. A question that keeps coming from the community is, depending on which country I am in, I have different taxes. If I am in Chile and buy something from RSI or Switzerland, I have a different tax rate and can buy something cheaper. If I buy from you, I don't know where it comes from. So this whole tax thing, this legal thing, that I am safe, you take care of it, or do I have to work with problems at some point? No. When you buy from us, we take care of it. A customer buys from us from the USA and we just pay the taxes that have to be paid for the sellers. And the sellers, depending on where the sellers are sitting, of course, also have to clarify with their own finances how they pay their taxes for the profits. But for the buyer, they don't have to worry about taxes at all. We do everything, we take care of it. For example, if you buy from Germany, you would have to pay a tax on the majority, even if it were a German marketplace. But since there are no majority taxes in the US and Virginia, they don't have to be deducted. So I always save myself 19. Exactly. Buying abroad is without a majority tax. And you saved yourself 19, right? You now have your own upgrade tool, the Upgrade Navigator. It's new to you. As I know, the CCU game is very good. I've already made a few videos about it. It works similarly, right? The Upgrade Navigator. Is it already final or are you still working on it? Yes, good that you mention it. We have now also completed another feature last week. So the Upgrade Navigator is a simpler, lighter version of the CCU tool. We thought we wanted to set it up exactly like the Upgrade tool in RSI. Just input, output, and everything is very simple. One page, super straightforward. And that's why we want to encourage people to check out the ground market for upgrades that may not be available on RSI right away. And now we've even started doing this live. Or it will come live this week or next week, depending on how the tests run. We have also integrated RSI. That means you can also calculate a cheap chain, also from articles that are available on RSI. That means you can calculate a chain from the ship. This is the cheapest RSI. It is cheap on Star Hangar. This article is only available on Star Hangar. And this article is currently available on RSI on sale. And then you can build the best, most efficient chain from it. Our goal is to continue to connect other markets. For example, Space Foundry wanted to connect me, or Duffy24, so that you can really search everything and really find everything, whatever it may be. That's cool. So not only do you get an exclusive benefit, but I can also benefit from it by being able to see what's currently available on RSI, compare prices directly, and decide to buy some from there and the rest from other sources. You can draw the best advantages from everything. Exactly. That's right. Sometimes there are upgrades available on Star Hangar and RSI, but they may have some limitations which make them more expensive. But ultimately, if you're not interested in the extra package that comes with the upgrade, you can simply purchase it on RSI and assemble your dream ship at a lower cost. I want to emphasize again that the Upgrade Navigator is becoming more popular as it is a marketplace with many sellers. It's important to note that if you plan on building a chain, this tool is essential. With 30 ships available, is it possible that the seller may have trouble delivering one of the 30 or 20 ships, or not even have it in stock, requiring us to look for an alternative? That's why it is advisable, if you build especially long chains, not to claim all the ships that have been sent to you immediately, but wait until everyone is really together and then claim them. Because if you have claimed everything and one thing is missing and it has to be replaced or made differently, there is a risk that you can build the chain to the end. Because everyone's a different seller, everyone has done it differently. We take care of it and make sure that we always get something. But it can really happen from time to time. A super rare upgrade, the seller thought he had 10 of them, he worked on 9 of them and then he sold one, and then we give the money back. But the chain has a gap and then we have to find a solution for the gap. So it is important not to claim everything immediately, to wait until everyone has done everything. Okay. So I can't have everything immediately, but I need to make sure everything is in place gradually and build the chain in the end to avoid missing anything in between. If there's a gap, you'll turn to your support for a solution. Exactly. This has actually happened once or twice where the seller didn't label the item correctly or miscounted, and it wasn't available anymore. We had to find an alternative and then ship it. It's a customer. Good. I have 72, so I have to buy each one for myself and then see that I can put it together. Then it's completely up to me. Yes. I have another question here. It's about store credit purchases. You can also buy store credits. How does that work? You pay 150 and then get 200 in store credits. How does that work? Store credits is also a very... You could call it forex trading. It's not. Store credits have a certain value. So, where do store credits usually come from? Do sellers get them from people who are leaving the game? Some people just want to get rid of something. Then it doesn't matter. Sell something below the value or say, okay, I now have an account with 20,000 on it. I've overplayed myself too much. My wife stresses me out. I'm going to sell this account now. I don't want to anymore. Or I don't want to scan it anymore. And then they sell this account because it's all account bound. That means you can buy it for 16,000 or 15,000. That means the person is happy to have the thing in their pocket. And the buyer then has these credits. They can be melted in and then transferred. No change is needed. The translation is already contextual and colloquial modern. So there are just these account-bound chips that were bought. If I buy something from you, I'm familiar with the process, not just from you. Let's say I buy a 600i from you, which is a pretty pricey ship. Then I receive an email from RSI because the seller also uses their system to send it. You don't have your own, but it's the RSI system, the only one there is. And then it says, I get a ship, and there is a P-52 Merlin in it. Did I get screwed, or is that correct? It may be that the P-52 Merlin is written on it in the email, but the ship has been upgraded to the 600E. If you receive a ship that has been upgraded, you may only see the base ship at first. However, if you go to a hangar and open it up, you should see that it has been upgraded to the 600E. These are the CCU chains that many sellers make. They purchase a low-cost base ship with lifetime insurance and gradually upgrade it with a series of 1,015 upgrades until it reaches the desired level. So don't panic, that's normal. So it is also the case that if you build something yourself and then send it, you have exactly the same thing. So if I send it to a friend, he only sees the base ship. So no scam. Because we get this question often, even when we do giveaways, and someone wins something different than what they expected. So first take it, just look inside, that's the right ship and everything fits. Yes, that's absolutely the right ship. There is even a small secondary market that is created when you have these original packages. So if you have the original packages from 8 years ago, they're worth a lot because of the goodies included. They are even more expensive than the normal base ship. But a lot of people want to have the ship and fly with it. How do you see the development of Star Citizen? Star Citizen or CIG has always made it clear that once the game is released, the melting in, melting out, and building chains will be restricted. How do you see that? Does that mean for you, okay, then we'll stop when it's like that? Or how do you deal with it? First of all, I think that will be a little further. And if that's the case, then we'll stop with this kind of market. There will definitely be something else. There will always be a demand for people who want to trade their creations, whether they developed them themselves or acquired them elsewhere. We believe that it will continue after release and middlemen will always be needed. How can I reach you best? You have a Discord, you have a help desk, you have an email address. Where do you say is the best, or where can I reach you best? The fastest way to get an answer is via Discord. Our support people are there 24 hours a day. They should usually be able to answer in 5 to 10 minutes and also help directly. Everything is also responsible via help desk and ticket. Someone might also come via Discord to solve things faster. And it's good everywhere, but the fastest way is via Discord. Mark, you yourself are a Star Citizen player, so you've been there for a few years yourself. What is your fleet and what is your rarest item? I've been there since the Kickstarter. Shortly after the Kickstarter, I really got there. I started with a 300i. Back then, we only had the pictures and the hangar where you could run around. But my fleet, the biggest ship I have is the Idris M. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for the Javelin. It was a bit too big for me. Then I also have a Carrack, a Constellation Phoenix, a 350R, a Vanguard Sentinel and all sorts of things. I once had an F7A. Unfortunately, I don't have it anymore. And a golden ticket. And of course all the early backer and veteran backer rewards. But I think the coolest, where I'm still the most proud, are the things behind me. On the one hand, the original Constellation model, which you could buy a few years ago. That was from the Art of Ice Storm. They had a Constellation model. And it's always on my desk, so I can always see it. It's completely made of 10 turrets and is removable with a ramp and everything. And it all closes. And of course, this is a really nice thing. And of course, this is my Star Citizen White Admiral card from back then. The golden one, which you could really still show. And it's actually on the back, if you look at it like this and he'll open it. On the back, it's signed by Chris and Aaron Roberts in 2013 on the Gamescom. I think that's the most valuable thing I have here for me. It's definitely valuable and very rare. I don't think there are 10 of them. No, there aren't. I'm really proud of that. And the name on it and the citizen number. 48,000 citizen number. That's over 2 million. That's awesome. That's wonderful. I think that's the most awesome and valuable thing I have here for Star Citizen. I have one more question. You are a big marketplace for Star Citizen. Do you have any connections directly to CIG? A personal contact person or a support where you say, hey, let's call our colleagues again, or is that normal? That's normal. CIG is not a marketplace. They don't have the interest in getting involved legally there. You have talked to CIG, let's say, unofficially, or you just know what CIG thinks. The marketplace is great, it can exist, It's even handled in the TOS in such a way that it can be there. And the reason why it can be there is that they don't want to take care of all the stuff. That's how we assume that they don't care about the whole thing. If a thing wasn't delivered, if someone was scammed, if a wrong article was delivered, they'd rather hand it over to someone else and not take care of it. And that's a lot of legal stuff that they have to cover up, and they just don't want that. We also believe that. But it's not directly involved in CIG in the marketplace. But I think there have already been conversations in the past with CIG itself. Do you have anything against the grey market in principle, or do you want to do something about it? I mean, it's been around for almost 10 years now. So far, there has been no complaint or any kind of complaint or anything like that. No, absolutely not. CIG is absolutely fine with it. They are satisfied when it is in their hands. They control it and carry it out cleanly. And that's in their interest. So I don't think we're going to step on their heels in return. I think we're helping them to regulate something and make sure that it could otherwise be a problem for them. Yes, then, Mark, thank you very much for taking the time. I wish you all the best of luck and, of course, us, because every sale that you have is, of course, also an income for CIG. And the game will be further financed. So thank you for your time, and I'll keep my fingers crossed for the next time. Thank you very much.
But the Impound has also answered us. But in written, we will summarize the questions and answers for you. Is the Impound a marketplace, or are you a single seller? We are neither a marketplace nor a single seller. We are several sellers and owners of all the items we sell. Therefore, we can guarantee complete security and deliver extremely quickly. Is it possible to sell at the Impound ourselves? Selling items is not possible with us. But we buy entire accounts. Here we have the highest security measures, so that we can exclude a misuse. For example, we also work here with a notary dual customers. How do you verify your buyers or sellers? We have a system in place that checks buyers using various factors like IP addresses and data to prevent any misuse. Do you have a special contact at CIG or a special support? Of course, we are also not have a special treatment. But we have learned from conversations with former CIG employees that we are known for our good work. And the grey market is well known there. How do you manage to offer much cheaper prices than in the Plug store? Thanks to our amazing partner, the CCU Gamedon, we are able to connect everything and provide the best deals out there. How long are you in the business? We've been selling Star Citizenship since 2012, starting on eBay and other markets before opening our own shop. How much do you make in a year? Of course, we can't give you an exact number, but we are very happy with our sales and consider ourselves successful. And we're getting stronger every year, similar to the Star Citizen project itself. Do you have complaints more often, and how do you deal with them? We don't really have many complaints. Most of them are support requests that we receive regarding errors in the game, questions about possible discounts, and so on. We have committed team members who answer these questions all the time via our Discord or by email. And of course, we are always looking for committed employees for the support desk, the knowledge database, or the live chat function. Have you ever had scam cases or problems after a purchase, and how do you deal with them? Since we are not a marketplace, we don't have to deal with cheaters, so scammers, or other sellers. But of course, we have developed different systems and procedures to ensure that fraud is prevented. What kind of protection can you provide for potential buyers? As we are not a marketplace, we guarantee that our customers will receive their exact items they require. And if a customer receives the wrong item, we guarantee to provide the correct one. To date, we have not encountered any instances of items being removed from a customer's account. But in this case, we also offer a complete backup. How does a purchase work? It's very simple. Go to theimpound.com, put the item in the shopping cart and complete the purchase process. And usually you will receive the item within the next 10 minutes via the RSI gift system, so with the email. Where do you based? Do you pay taxes and fees accordingly? We have our headquarters in the United States in Massachusetts. And like all sales and marketplaces, we are obliged to raise and pay the added value taxes. And we have to pay sales or service tax on sales that are carried out via our platform. Considering our customers are from all over the world, we have to pay taxes not only in the United States, but also in other countries. And to comply with these regulations, we have hired a company to effectively manage our global tax obligations. Have you already had experience with the attempt of laundering money at your shop? So, since we do not operate as a marketplace, the risk does not exist for us. We sell our own. Do you also sell entire accounts? Our sold accounts are checked and have been in our property for a long time before we offer them to the seller. They are subject to the same buyer protection as other items. So why should buyers buy from you? There are several reasons for this. The most important is security, since we are not a marketplace and that we own all items ourselves. Our shipping times are lightning fast, and we also have a loyalty program that offers free items such as the Vulture, C2 Hercules, Polaris and even the 890 Jump. And in addition, we have many rare items. And of course, we try to be very competitive when it comes to the price. Can potential buyers get tips from you on what is the best for them? We always encourage buyers to be in our Discord server and to chat with our community. And we also strongly recommend reading our FAQs. There we have various support articles. What is the rarest article, the rarest chip that you offer? Here we have a whole series and real jewels on stock. For example, an original Vandal Sight or the AMD Mustang Omega. And of course, specialties like the Valkyrie Liberator, the F7A upgrade or many other rare things. Do you active play Star Citizen? We play from time to time ourselves, but we definitely don't have as much time as we used to. When and how did you join Star Citizen, and when did you become a seller? We have original supporters in the team, as well as players who joined later. And shortly after we started the game, we also started trading. Can you tell us more about your loyalty program? The program is based on how much you spend, and there are different levels with different rewards on this amount, starting with FPS equipment to a Polaris or 890 Jump. You can also find the complete explanation in the Impound loyalty program. And of course, we organize various giveaways for the community. And we also have a recommendation program that offers a $5 discount for the recommender and the buyer. Does the Impound have an impression or an indication of where and what form you are located? And what kind of corporate form do you use? We are an official registered company in the USA. You can find our documents and information if you type in the Impound LLC at Google. So in regards to the gray market, it's ultimately up to the buyer to decide how much security they want and how much they want to save. Ultimately, significant savings are also possible if you take more time here, so wait several years and above all sales. But the gray market can also be a cheap and easy alternative to get different items that you want easily and quickly. The most important aspect, however, remains. No matter where and how you shop, every purchase supports the further development of Star Citizen, whether it's about the gray market trader or about yourself. And of course, I'm very curious about your opinions and informations on this controversial topic, either in the Discord, the video comments or in the daily Twitch live streams. I'll say goodbye until next time, and of course, see you in the verse. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.